since my dissertation topic was on marital rape, I think I got one or two questions regarding the same from the interview board in the personality test. So the primary thing was they asked about what my thesis was on, what my findings were, what was my research topic. So I replied about the research topics like why India still has not criminalized marital rape despite it being a Britain invention and all of that. So the most important question then, or the controversial question that we can consider was why is like so one of the board members basically asked why India is not criminalizing marital rape. If at all we are criminalizing marital rape, Kajal, don't you think that the institution of marriage will collapse? So that was the most important question, and that is something we consider as controversial as well, because we generally know that marriage is considered as a sacred institution and it is considered as a holy institution. So while replying to such questions, we'll have to be a bit more careful, especially when on this topic of marital rape, the government has been taking a conventional stand. So we cannot outrightly criticize the stand or something like that. So my reply to that question was, sir, yes, it is true that if marital rape is criminalized, there are chances that institutions of marriage might collapse. But my idea of marriage is that marriage is a very sacred institution built on pillars of respect and dignity. So ultimately, I think that if there is something like marital rape inside a marriage or family, it is not considered sacred, or it is considered as a violent institution or unholy institution. So in such situations, that institution of marriage has to collapse. Only then it can, actually do justice to what the institution actually stands for. So that was my stand to the board member. So I think that is more or less, something when something like marital rape comes up, you cannot in any way you cannot justify it, even if it is a stand of government as well, because it is very discriminative of the provisions of Indian Constitution. It violates all the articles of Indian Constitution, especially 14, 21 and all of that. So in such questions, we should not outrightly criticize the government stand, but we can say that, but when we answer such controversial questions, I feel that we can justify these arguments based on the articles of Indian Constitution. So if at all we justify these arguments based on Indian Constitution, I think that will be valid. So we need not fear how the board would take it, because ultimately we are emphasizing our answers on Indian Constitution and its judgments or Supreme Court judgments or anything else.